thanks to God for the gift of life. Is all we can say.
Can't
we? Since yesterday, it's quite interesting. Yesterday, everybody was saying, arrest the MP, arrest the MP, arrest the MP, arrest the MP. We were saying, no, we still want to hear his side of the story, even as we make the case that, look,
we can't trial him in absentia.
I beg you. This trial in absentia is too big. It's too big. But he subsequently issued a statement saying that, look, under no circumstance he incites the people of the town, the Lithium town, against the Nymos team. Collins Dowder, who was named as well, has outrightly denied any involvement in the matter and says that he didn't at any point in time at all ask that the suspects be released. And so it brings us to the question which investigations must find out who was responsible for the thugs who besieged a police station, well, beyond the thugs, so a resident as well, and there are pictures and videos. Who was responsible for inciting them? Or is this the case of what we saw with the IGP's task force and the town folks saying, allow us to do our Galamsey and don't come and interfere in what we do as a living?
What I see is one of three things, and the last is what you have introduced right now, that the community members, they themselves are in support of the illegality. The other two, and out of the other two, one is definitely correct, is that somebody is lying. It is either
somebody's lying, pa.
See, when something happens, there's the truth, there's versions of the truth. My truth, your truth, and then the real truth. So the real truth is there, but then the version of the MP's truth is also there, and then the version of Nymos' truth is also there, and then the version of Alhaji Collins Dowder's truth is also there. But at the bottom line is a certain truth that we'd all have to find out. So if the truth is not what it is, then I get there somebody is not being truthful here.
Economical with the truth. I mean, the subject of Galamsey.
Economical with the truth. You don't see the person's lying.
Doing
diplomacy.
No. I mean, somebody definitely will be telling lies. That's without to say. Somebody will. An account is certainly not what transpired there.
Exactly.
There are those who've asked questions about the whereabouts of the DCE. And I think that's a very legitimate question to ask, because for starters, we've been told that DCs have a KPI where illegal mining should not be taking place. If you're a district chief executive or a metropolitan chief executive or municipal chief executive, and there's Galamsey actively ongoing in your vicinity, you have questions to answer.
Certainly.
Police commanders were transferred when this government took over because it was believed that they had become complicit.
Because they have stayed longer there.
And were now enjoying, and so they needed to change things. And so there were even conversations that from time to time we need to change the commanders within these mining areas so that there will always be very little motivation to have them induce, amongst other things. And so the district chief executive in the Lithium area most certainly has to answer for, because Nymos seems as 10 meters.
Yes,
this
just
is away what you say, away
from the main road. And then so, you've seen the statement from Ebenezer Kwekwado, the MP for Asutifi North.
Yes,
and then it's. His explanations are some way. If we're going to get into that, we can begin reading what his version of the truth is, and then listeners will be able to know what really the situation is. So yesterday, that we spoke about the attack on the team and all of that.
Yeah.
And then a name was in the middle. Wherever you pass, that name was mentioned. The name is Honorable Ebenezer Kwekwado. He is the MP for Asutifi North constituency. And then he had to respond yesterday in a statement from his office. He said this. He gave a chronology of the event of what transpired, and it started on November 1. He says that whilst he was en route to a funeral at a place at Trinsua in the Asutifi South constituency, he inquired from Honorable Collins Dauda, the MP for Asutifi South constituency, whether he was available so that the two of them could go together. I mean, the MP, is going to another constituency, but he wants to go to the funeral with the MP for the area.
Collins and I will hold no brief, but the Honorable Alhaji Collins Dauda is a long-serving member of Parliament. In terms of the politics in that part of the country, he wields a lot of influence.
Yes.
Him and then the chairman of the party as well, Asidu Nketia. And so there is that tendency that everything will circulate or go through him in terms of what happens in the area for political reasons. And so more like godfatherism. And so when you're going, you want to find out from your godfather if he will be there. I'm not saying he is the Honorable Collins Dauda Alhaji is the member of Parliament's godfather. I'm just seeking to explain why possibly we could have that play out as to, I'm calling my boss to find out if you go so that I'll go with them as well beyond.
I'm going into his constituency regardless.
Exactly. And so that's just the point I'm seeking to make.
Then he adds that Honorable Dauda indicated to him he's currently not in the country, so he, the MP, and I'm talking about Kwekwadu, should represent him, Honorable Collins Dauda. Now, upon reaching Lithium, he says that he realized there was tension in town, so he inquired and was told there was a military operation going on at a gold extraction site. He quickly called back Honorable Collins Dauda to inform him of the development. Okay, maybe because Collins Dauda is not around, Honorable Dauda is not around, he has seen this, so I'm calling my boss. Honorable, this is going on in your constituency. Have you heard it? Are you aware? Okay. And then he says that Honorable Collins Dauda asked me to go to the site to enable him speak with the team to ascertain what was going on, because one of the assembly members who he sent wasn't spoken to by the military team. Okay.
So means
he asked me, Collins Dauda asked Kwekwadu to go to the site to enable him speak with the team. He's talking about the military team to ascertain what was going on, because one of the assembly members who Honorable Collins Dauda sent wasn't spoken to by the military team. Okay. And then he adds that upon reaching the site with his constituency vice chairman and driver, I'm talking about Kwekwadu here,
right,
he introduced himself to the leader of the team, that's Kenobua, I believe, and asks that he speaks to the person on the phone, because Collins Dauda was on the phone wanting to speak with the team.
Right.
Having arrived at the place, he says that he saw some youth at the site, whilst others gradually massed up. So when he got there, he saw that.
So they were massing up, and so let's proceed.
The only advice I could give was for us to move to the police station to officially make a statement and subsequently hand over items and suspects to the police to calm tensions. Upon reaching the police station, it was seen that the major road had been blocked, preventing vehicular movement. Together with the military, regional police, crime officer, NIB operatives, Kenya State Police Commander, we all remained in the police charge office while statements were being taken. He says, I went further to call in the Zongo chief of Lithium to assist us in calming the situation, and he came. Having finalized the handing over of the items to the regional crime officer, the Zongo chief volunteered to pick the military officers in his Toyota vehicle because the pickup of the military had been tampered with. And then he adds that the Toyota vehicle of the Zongo chief had its glasses smashed at the back by then and had left to attend other funerals in Totron Sujedu and Wamahinso, right? And then he says he wishes to state that under no circumstance will he incite the youth against security officers and any government-planned agenda. As a responsible lawmaker, he offered his support to ensure there is calmness in the area and will always work together with every security agency to maintain law and order. It is quite unfortunate that the police in their stir-up failed to acknowledge my contribution towards ensuring that calmness prevail. And then he urges the public to disregard the false narratives aimed at tarnishing his reputation and undermining, tarnishing his reputation and undermining his efforts to serve his constituents. He says, as your member of parliament, I want to assure you that I remain committed to the welfare and safety of the Ghanaian citizen and other state institutions. This is the response from Honorable Kweku Ebenezer Kweku Ado, the MP for Asitifi North, the man mentioned in all of the happenings concerning Naimas over the weekend. Make of it what you will.
Make of it what you will. And Noble Crosby Annan taking the time to go through the statement from the Member of Parliament. But we know that the Honourable Colin Stauder as well yesterday spoke to a local media outlet here in the capital or here in the country, responding to a number of the concerns and the issues that had played out. His name has come up. His name's been mentioned in all of the developments. Here's what he had to say in terms of his own version. And make of it what you will as well. But here's the Honourable Alhaji Collins Dauda.
So many calls from the concerned soldier phobia about your operations. Now, me as assemblyman call na me Musa, the leading team no, na me briefing. Assemblyman no, the leader of the team no, wa na me ankasa. Inti emuna certificate of MP from say or be year or me conference or actually. The mami who say or inti me say or no was wrong. Onko na me commander of the team no and kasa. Idi already only refuse to talk to me. The man Honorable Ebenezer Kwakwado ba asem no ni plan bia so about. Na pa me person me briefing every team no and na ma the cars one onko. The Nampa, with the MP, commander and Mekasai, and no my briefing, so I bet this will be a Galamsey or na or more demolition in Yamina. Man can't be via phone no crowns or sound drop for you in the process. My farm friend back. A chief crown and Betty said, or more if he baby are Adrian and Kasai, a call police station. A man here war a one more attack or man be up attack or more police station or as a minute money where Christian so a will any of course not use possible. No use when no one can make them.
The best in the morning is on 92.7 Sunrise on 3FM.
So that's the Honourable Alhaji Colin Stauder speaking there. And let's get into the papers. I'm sure this is on our plates this morning as well. Quite a number of persons were seeking to engage on this particular subject matter. On the security apparatus standpoint, what can be done? Because this is not the first time we're seeing the operational team of the state attacked by community because they were clamping down on activities of illegal mining.
Because their interests did not align.
Exactly. What can be done in situations like that and all of that is something that will come up. We'll also seek to get a bit more from the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry because they issued a statement yesterday saying that they've been in contact with the speaker amongst many other things. And so most definitely something we'll seek to get a bit more in terms of the details. The Member of Parliament statement we've read, I get the indication he's not speaking outside of this press release, but we can begin delving into the newspapers this morning. Crosby.
I'll start with the National Enquirer newspaper. The big story on the front page, I'm not a tyrant. I believe in democracy. I'm not interested in a third term. Mahama to critics. That story is captured on pages 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the paper. Julius Debra calls for nationwide support for Ability Village Initiative. Also, SHC rolls out 15% discount to clients. Mahama hails Victory Bible Church at 40, and Pringpag raises red flag on misinformation bill. And indeed, yesterday, the Ghana Journalists Association, they were also raising some concerns on the misinformation bill as well as the Cybersecurity Bill 2025. These are the stories on the front page of the Daybreak newspaper. I'll take you, the National Enquirer, I beg your pardon. Now to the Daybreak newspaper. The front page says, excavator parts vanish under military watch at Burma camp. It comes with a picture of Lieutenant General William Japan, CDS. And Mahama pushes for new regional security platform. Chaos at GRA, LC Apau, technical advisor to the GRA Commissioner General, is pictured here. And simple question, is Erica J in charge of NEIP? Erica J is being asked. Also, Okaikwe North MC hints of sanitation court. I'm interested in the excavator parts vanishing under military watch. I'll try and see if I can find the story. It says in a startling twist, several brand new excavators kept at Burma camp and Accra for safekeeping have been stripped of vital parts, casting serious doubts on the military's ability to protect state property. Crucial components, including monitoring systems, batteries, and motors, are said to have been missing from the machines, which were sent directly from the port to the military facility under a presidential directive for secure storage. You remember the conversation that some excavators were being moved from the ports in larger amounts that generated a whole lot of hullabaloo and all of that. They say that now some of the parts of the machines are missing. According to reports, the machines were sent directly from ports to, Burma camp as part of a presidential directive ordering that all excavators impounded or imported under special conditions be stored at military facilities to prevent tampering or misuse. However, the recent development has raised eyebrows within both security and public circles. Some soldiers at the camp claim that the excavators arrived with missing parts, suggesting the machines might have been tampered with before their arrival. Others, however, expressed disbelief, questioning how brand new excavators sent straight from the port could lose vital components without any trace. So these are the stories that the Daybreak newspaper is reporting, Marina.
The New Republic is what I have here. We'll start off with what's on the front page there. They lead with Ghana Post sparks pack clash. Oforiatta deputy orders Sam George to hide names. I think for those of you who are frequent on social media, you would have seen it wasn't a clash. It was just she's saying that honorable, the name calling should stop. Guns, gold, and mayhem. MP linked to Galamsey rampage. That story on page 8. Sam George lights up Wuti Festival with digital dreams. Court crushes Edubuahin's fantasy. Mensah finds God as removal petition gathers dust. Oh. You know, I had a problem with people passing comments that she was at a Christian event over the weekend.
Yes. She was there. We've seen the video. I think she was an usher.
Yeah, I applaud her for that.
There's no problem with it.
I don't know why that became a subject matter for intense conversation. I'll be very honest.
Ghana, we're trying to read meanings into everything, but the person's faith is different from the
and she should be free to do
fellowship.
Yes, because this has nothing to do with her position as a chairperson of the Electoral Commission. And beside the point, after elections, really, we tend to hear very little of our electoral commissioners in this part of the world. And so again, allow her be. But the Daily Graphic, Galamsey attack on Naimo's team. 2 MPs hauled before police CID. Germany pledges 65 million euro support for Ghana as President Mahama hosts President Steinmeier. Lithium mining venture in limbo. New cybersecurity bill threatens press freedom. Amansea Rural Bank records 207.98% profit growth. Those are the stories. I'll just look at the back page and what it says. Okran elected president of Ghana Tourism Federation, and unidentified gunmen attacked 2 immigration officers at Nangani. Castro brought us details of this story yesterday, and quite troubling because one of the said officials was in very critical condition and in need of possibly being flown out, if I'm not mistaken. Also, the Daily Times, and I have the Daily Times and the Overseer. A Sutifi North MP denies inciting mob attack on NIMOS task force. That's on the Observer. Also, on the front page, we need concrete action against breast cancer, not just slogans. Nana Oye Bampoado is saying this. Faba calls for business-friendly 2026 budget to revive local industries. Ghana positioned as gateway to Africa for German investment. That's according to the president. Western region, blue water guards destroy equipment used for illegal mining on Mensah River. Haruna Mohammed, BA, urges patience over Lithium Galamsey incident. I'll just do the Daily Times quickly so that you have the Ghanaian Times and then Ghana's favorite newspaper, the Daily Guide. MCUG calls for fair collaborative approach from regulators. TCDA strengthens stakeholder collaboration to boost industry. Honorable NSC Oenim sets the record straight, dismisses false reports on parliamentary audience. And there's an interesting one here. Prophet Adum Chedbia to donate over 800 billion cedis to Believers Worship Center members in 2026. That's also here.
To donate what?
800 billion. Let's get into what you have.
800 billion.
Yeah.
The Daily Guide newspaper on the front page. Germany supports Ghana with 65 million euros. SMR rebuts OSP claims, calls for evidence-based verification. Also, AG frees Wuntumiko accused. GRA head of legal arrested. That story is on page 6 of the paper. NP invited over NIMOS task force assault. These are the stories on the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper. There's this story that I saw in one of the pages of the paper, and that story is on page 11 of the paper. That happened in the Ashanti region. Over 30 drivers nabbed for overcharging at night. If they come to Circle, if this tax, it's not only Circle, whichever bus stop, popular bus stop we have in Accra, if they come there in the night, they would arrest every driver unless they don't see that it is.
And this arrest was done by the GPRTU or the police?
This was by a special task force of the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly. Yes. So it involved police, military, and KMA officers. It was carried out following several complaints from passengers over persistent fare hikes on Santase Ahinema Kokobin route. In fact,
no, it's something. So you hear the term when they mention the either they'll say that dummy 10 cities. That's what they'll say. Or dummy streets to seek to suggest that if you're getting off anywhere in the journey, you pay for the dummy fare. We're fleecing ourselves.
It's so
because people are in search of, because when you get to Circle, the rush hour period,
yes,
my goodness.
And then it is worse if it has rained small.
Yeah, not small.
So go there where the drivers, hey, what I told you that you're going to Dome, but instead of you to go to Dome Street, you won't go. You start from Circle to Achimota to maybe mile 7 to Dome. All of that will be taking different different
fares.
They come to Circle, they will arrest everybody. A few days ago, I was around Atomic Junction, and then these bus conductors from Atomic to Kwabinye and Ashomanesi, there's a regular fare. I think it's like 8 cities, 50 pesos or something. And then because it was late in the night, although the car was at the station, the driver said he's taking 10 cities.
If you want, get on board. If you don't, stay there and sleep.
It is close to 12. How would you say you don't want? You'd have to sacrifice and then you should come and arrest all of them. The Ghanaian Times newspaper. Germany pledges 65 million euro support to Ghana. Also, GJ considering legal action at ECOWAS Human Rights Court over Ahmed Swale's case. Government engages ESPA to clear outstanding arrears, local government minister. And Lithium disturbances, IGP directs CID to take over investigations. These are the stories on the front page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. On page 8, grab copy for recruitment into internal security agencies. The story is on page 8 of the paper. The back page of the Ghanaian Times. State Housing Company targets 200 million cedi debt recovery. That's according to the managing director of State Housing Company. Education Minister inaugurates 160-bed girls' dormitory for Bimbila Senior High School. That's it from me, Eric.
Let's begin to get the details from these newspapers. From the police statement, we understand just one person, one MP, is supposed to present themselves for possible investigation, investigation which has started. But the graphic is reporting that 2 MPs have been hauled before the police CID. I want to see if there is some extra bit of detail they've got which the rest of the country have not got. And it says that 2 members of parliament are under police investigation over their role in a mob action at Lithium in the Ahafo region that threatened lives and damaged property in a Galamsey related incident. The MP for Isutufi North, Ebenezer Kwekwado, and the MP for Isutufi South, Collins Dowda, are being questioned by the Police Criminal Investigations Department for interfering with lawful police activity, possible complicity in illegal mining activities, inciting a mob action against law enforcers, and other issues. And so I think it's the 2 MPs for the area who are still in this particular story, and so we'll see even as we ready ourselves to get a bit more into it for you here on the 3FM Sunrise. We'll see how it all plays out in the coming days in terms of investigations.
Just by way of public notice or public address, grab a copy of the Ghanaian Times if you want to enter the security agencies, because public notice recruitment into the internal security agencies, that has been advertised in the Ghanaian Times. So there's an opportunity for you if you want to. So you can just take the Ghanaian Times and then you may find your way into any of the security agencies being advertised by the Ghanaian Times newspaper. There's the story on SML rebutting the OSP's claims. I'm sure we know what has been happening concerning SML and OSP and Ken Oforiatta and all of that. But now, SML has refuted claims by the Office of the Special Prosecutor following investigations into its contract with the Ghana Revenue Authority, calling for evidence-based verification against assumptions. According to the company, it will present all relevant documents before the appropriate authorities, stressing its operations have been undertaken in line with the rule of law and within the limits of the contract. This follows the OSP's briefing on October 30, which raised issues over its ownership, scope of service, performance and verification, as well as payment system, and the subsequent directive by President John Mahama to the Finance Minister, Dr. To, forcing for the contract to be terminated. Now, despite the contract termination directive, SML Ghana reaffirmed its full cooperation with all lawful review processes and urged the national dialogue to be guided by verified facts, context, and due process. The company disclosed that assertions suggesting political or public office ownership of SML, it is inconsistent with official corporate records.
The SML and GRA issue, the president has ordered for the termination of all such agreements.
Yes.
Their statement in the last few has it spoken to this, the fact that they've been asked to, or their contract has been terminated?
So
and yesterday we got update as well that the OSP had arrested one individual who works for SML is a former head of legal as well, who was with the office of the was with the Ghana Revenue Authority, with SML, who's been picked up by the office of the special prosecutor. I'll just get his name or the
Daily Guide
details.
is reporting the person is still the acting head of legal affairs at the Ghana Revenue Authority. His name is Freeman Saba. In connection with its ongoing investigation into the controversial revenue assurance agreement between the GRA and Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited. That's according to the Daily Guide.
His name is Mr. Saba.
Yes, Freeman Saba.
Right. He's been arrested, or he's
been arrested.
Right. So there's a lot more in relation to this that hasn't gone away in terms of since that press conference, the president's directing. There's a story here on City Newsroom about this particular subject matter, and it reads: OSP summons GRA boss and top officials over SML scandal. It says that the office of the special prosecutor has summoned the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Anthony Sapong, the Assistant Commissioner in charge of Finance, Celestine Annan, and the Technical Assistant to the Commissioner General, Kenneth J. Dia, to appear before investigators in connection with ongoing inquiries into the controversial GRA Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited SML Revenue Assurance contract. Now, the summons follows the arrest of Freeman Saba, the acting head of legal affairs at GRA, on Monday for his alleged involvement in corruption and obstruction of justice related to the same contract. Now, according to OSP sources, the three senior officials were directed to appear before it after it emerged that they allegedly instructed the acting head of legal to issue a letter to lawyers for SML at the company's request in mid-October. Investigators believe the correspondence may have implications for the ongoing probe. And so, okay, let me finish the story. Sources at the OSP further noted that this is the second time the Commissioner General and the Assistant Commissioner for Finance have been invited. Their earlier statement reportedly contradicts the content of the letter they are alleged to have authored or approved. Both Mr. Sapo and Mr. J.D. previously worked with KPMG, the auditing firm that reviewed SML Ghana's operations under a directive by former President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. In a statement posted on its official social media pages, the OSP confirmed that Mr. Saba is under investigation for suspected corruption and corruption-related offences. So that's it. Doesn't look like we are hearing the last of this, because the GRA boss himself is going. And so, but SML hasn't said anything about their contracts or the finance minister being asked to terminate the contract.
Because that has not happened, I'm sure that's why they are saying that we should approach it with facts. So maybe they have facts to suggest to the authorities that this is not something you should cancel because we're following agreement. We've not breached any contractual arrangements amongst all of that. So they think that the right thing is that the deal continues, although there's a directive that to be cancelled. I mean, we could come back later and say that after further due diligence or further investigations, we've maybe modified the scope of the arrangement amongst others, but not necessarily to cancel it. I'm saying we could.
No, the reason I'm saying is that when the KPMG report was finally released and its details as well released for a conversation, there was talk about modification of certain aspects, because remember, the president ordered that the contract be halted pending this KPMG work which was being done at the time. And subsequently, there were recommendations which asked for the cancellation of the upstream and then the mining revenue assurance, and then asked for certain modifications, seeking PP approval, and then working to ensure that we receive value for money with respect to the agreement we had signed.
Right.
The OSP, after its elaborate investigations, has revealed that, look, we didn't benefit anything from the modification, and that, I'm choosing my words, and these are my words and not that. It was a completely useless venture to have engaged in revenue assurance in the manner in which we did, because we didn't benefit anything.
Yeah.
So I don't see upon what basis you'll be returning to us or be returning to the president and be telling him that, oh, we have made modifications to the agreement and so we think it should proceed. Because remember, the president on a campaign platform said we will cancel the GRASML deal. So if he's had to be saying that or agreeing to the fact that there are modifications and so let's proceed, nobody will take that lightly, actually. You get it?
Yes, I think I agree.
And so that would be very difficult.
Yeah.
But while you try to bring us another, there's this story in relation to lithium. Last year, Barari DV and the lithium mine concession was a huge subject matter. The story is by Timothy Nenbe and Joanna Mensah. It's titled Lithium Mining Venture in Limbo. Atlantic Lithium lays off over 100 workers. Delayed lease approval causes uncertainty. Now, delay in parliamentary processes needed to ratify the country's first lithium mining lease has left Ghana's first lithium mining venture in limbo. Stakeholders, including government, investors, and community leaders, are instead set to be engaged in renegotiations for a new deal to revive the prospect of the venture. However, more than 100 workers at Atlantic Lithium, operators of the lithium mining project at Ewoya in the Infantiman and Abrasebu Kwamankasi areas in the central region, have lost their jobs following the delayed parliamentary ratification of the company's mining lease. In October 2024, the company employed 167 workers along its operational chain, including geologists, laboratory technicians, drivers, electricians, and other support staff. However, the general manager of Atlantic Lithium, Ahmed Salim Adam, disclosed that the number had been trimmed to just 62 because of the delay by Parliament to ratify the lease agreement for full operation to begin. Mr. Adam made this known to the Daily Graphic at the ongoing Africa Extractives Media Fellowship in Accra. And so we are still awaiting ratification, and people are losing their jobs as a result of that.
There's this story I'm trying to find why they're asking whether Erica J is still in charge of the NEIP. That's what I'm looking for. But why would they want to ask if he's still in charge of the NEIP?
It's suggestive of something which should be happening, which is not happening. But while you find that, let me say good morning to all the individuals on our Facebook stream. A number of you have shared thoughts with us. This one from Haji Yakubu says, Odi Alterum Patem, this week's new legal terminology unleashed. It applies only when the NDC is involved. Any other person will be tried in the media space and sentenced accordingly without being heard. He ends with shalom and emojis of silence as to what's been happening. Acclamati Elliot Dennis Akrika says, if we vote for criminals to represent us, this is the outcome. While all of us are fighting to end Galamsey, members of parliament are fighting the government constitutional institutions. Well, we are asking that all of them, investigations is happening, and so we will see what comes out of it. Ikia Oscar says, good morning. Good morning to you as well, Ikia. Thank you very much for joining the stream. As we continue, and Guy Jesus Boss also says good morning to the rest of us as he continues to follow exactly what's happening. You found the story now?
Yes. I think it's just a question that they were asking. It's entirely on the front page, so maybe in their subsequent releases.
I think I know what this is. Kanketi Napoali Fuseni. Good morning to him wherever he is. I'm sure he's either in the office by now because he's an early bird mostly. He did newspaper for a while, so he says the newspapers, they have a trick where they have a story. I suspect possibly there's a story about Erica J which is in the offing, but they will drop something on the front page to let you know that we have something and it is coming.
So
watch out for us.
Like
I suspect that's what.
I've looked for the thing. There's no page number attached to the story.
Yeah,
it's just simple question: is Erica J in charge of any IP?
Yeah, so they are seeking to drop a story, and they are teasing. It's more like a teaser. They are teasing and are asking the question that, is he in the office? Because we have this story and we are going to drop it soon. So we understand that. We understand what they are seeking to do with this one.
So there's the concern by a lot of media platforms, and I don't mean media companies. I'm talking about media mother organizations, Print Park, for instance, about this misinformation bill.
The cybersecurity one.
So two of them, cybersecurity and then misinformation, disinformation. Yes, there are two bills, essentially. Now, the private newspapers and online news publishers association of Ghana, they're called PRINPAG. They're raising concerns over the proposed misinformation, disinformation, hate speech, and publication of other information bill, cautioning that the legislation could undermine press freedom and democratic governance. In a public statement, PRINPAG acknowledged the growing dangers of misinformation and hate speech, but argued that the bill lacks clarity and necessity, particularly regarding what legal steps or gaps it intends to address. The association says that Ghana already has comprehensive laws and regulations, including the Constitution, the Defamation Act, the Criminal Offences Act, and then the Electronic Communications Act and media ethical codes administered by bodies such as the NMC and the GJA. The real problem, according to PRINPAG, is that it lies in the weak enforcement, political interference, and selective application of the existing laws. And then they say that history has shown that even without a bill of this nature, journalists have faced intimidation and arrests for simply doing their jobs. And they fear that the bill could become a tool for censorship if used by regimes with little regard for democratic rights, a risk that could deepen with future administrations. And the association is urging government to pause and reassess the bill and instead convene broader stakeholder consultations with media groups, civil society organizations, and then legal experts. So the GJA yesterday, they also spoke about this amongst other things.
You were there yesterday?
Yes, I was there yesterday. And what they are also saying is that this bill is one that touches the very core of free speech and then journalistic practice and democratic governance. They're saying that it is being pursued without adequate transparency and stakeholder consultation. And they say the approach is raising fears that the legislation, if passed in its current form or through a rush process, could inadvertently weaponize state power against the media and silence critical voices. Even if this current government has no intention of weaponizing such legislation, a subsequent government may. They are wanting a further extension of the deadline for submitting inputs to allow for broad-based, inclusive consultation. GJA also touched on the Cybersecurity Amendment Bill 2025. This is a bill from the same Ministry of Communications, and it seeks to strengthen investigatory, enforcement, and grant seizure, as well as grant prosecutorial powers for the Cybersecurity Authority, and then expand definitions of critical infrastructure and cyber officers. Now, though the bill is presented as an instrument to fight cybercrime, GJA says that the draft contains vaguely worded offenses, expanded state powers, and broad enforcement tools that, without robust safeguards, risk being used to undermine journalism, criminalize legitimate online reporting, and then enable surveillance of journalists and sources, and then essentially undermine press freedom. So these two bills being championed by the Ministry of Communication, it's like some other stakeholders do not like it in its current form.
For me, I think this is something that bothers on us and in terms of the work that we do.
Exactly.
We don't always get it right. There are instances where, as media persons, we make mistakes in terms of conveying the news, reportage, and the likes. And if that should be criminalized, that could lead to quite serious consequences. And the intention, I cannot speak to, because yes, there's a challenge with misinformation. I think in the last few weeks and months, the advent of AI-related videos is, I mean, you're struggling to tell the difference between what is AI and what is not.
Yeah. The only, sorry to tackle you, but the only good thing, it's not so good, but the only side thing about this is that the videos we're seeing now are funny videos.
Yeah.
That is why it is not, generating that. But
imagine it is deliberately being used for something malicious.
You're likely to believe it.
Exactly. And so we can understand possibly the need to do something about the consistent misinformation, but there are enough laws which allow us to deal with that. There are quite enough laws. And I just want to say in addition that when laws are being formulated or crafted, or whatever legal term is used for it, legislation is being put together, think of it in the hands of the worst of individuals and what they could do with legislation like that, because that will be legitimizing the clamp down on dissent.
Yeah, I mean, they'll say that there are laws backing it.
Yes.
Even the current one that does not outrightly give
publication of false news for creating fear and panic.
Government
they swooped in and picked up people. Yeah, so we beg they should exercise a bit more in terms of restraint, and let's have a conversation in terms of how we can help the institutions which are supposed to take charge and deal with misinformation. The National Media Commission, for instance, and the likes, who can take care of media personnel and become the arbitration point for cases of misinformation, defamation, and the like. Not go to jail.
You see, the funny thing is that based on where you sit on the political divide, your position changes. You know that a few weeks ago, the former information minister, Kojo Nkrumah, he had concerns about the cybersecurity bill, for instance.
He did.
But then, if he were in government, would his position change? Would he advocate for something similar? And I'm sure we've also seen videos within the week about Sam George when he was in opposition, saying that there are existing laws already to deal with these things, so there's no need for any efforts to introduce something else that could have the potential to fight.
They're actively seeking to gag,
You see, so based on where you are, and it's unfortunate that is what it is turning into. I think that is why the mother organizations, GJ has spoken, Printpack is also speaking. The NMC should also tell us its position. So the conversation leaves the political arena to the people who would be first class affected. Then they share their perspectives, their opinions on the bill. They recommend the changes that should be made to the wording, to the specifics, amongst others, so that when the bill passes, we know that their input was listened to, and this is what all of them agreed on.
Crosby, thank you very much helping us do the review, and we'll stay on and then get to delve into some of these other matters a lot later. That's my colleague Noble Crosby, and before we go for this quick break and then return to hear your voice, there's a world-class university right here in Ghana. That's the Rosebank International University, a strong South African university and a brand of the AdVTech Group, Africa's largest private